A neighbor saw something no one was supposed to see, and it changes everything we thought we knew about David and Celeste. What he revealed is chilling. Imagine someone missing for over a year, but living openly next door. That's exactly what a neighbor claims he witnessed. What he saw will shock you. For months, David and Celeste appeared like any normal couple. But what a neighbor noticed behind closed doors raises questions nobody saw coming. The story of Celeste's disappearance just took a dark turn. A neighbor's secret testimony may expose a truth no one was ready for. While her family searched desperately, Celeste may have been right next door, and what the neighbor saw paints a disturbing picture of what really happened. For the first time, a neighbor of David has spoken about what he saw and knew about the young singer's relationship with the late Celeste Rivas. His testimony doesn't just fill in missing pieces, it makes the entire story look far more troubling. And the picture it paints for David? Not good at all. A glimpse behind closed doors. The investigation into Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death took a dramatic turn when a neighbor living directly next door to David's Hollywood Hills rental decided to come forward with critical information. This revelation immediately challenged the official narrative being presented by David's team and provided investigators with a fresh perspective on the singer's private life. The neighbor, who has chosen to remain anonymous due to the sensitivity of the case, said he had been observing David and Celeste since February 2024, when David moved into the Hollywood Hills residence. According to his account, the two were often seen together, behaving as if they were a young couple cohabiting in the house. It seemed like a normal relationship between two people who were peers in age, he said, describing what appeared to be a quiet domestic routine. There were no parties, no excessive noise, and no police visits, none of the red flags that might have drawn his suspicion. What makes the testimony particularly significant is the time frame. The neighbor claims he saw Celeste and David together as recently as July 2025, which is deeply troubling because Celeste had officially been missing for over a year by that point. This suggests that, despite active searches by her family and law enforcement, she may have been living openly in one of Los Angeles's most affluent neighborhoods, raising questions about how someone so young could remain hidden in plain sight. The neighbor admitted he had been shocked when he learned Celeste's true age. He had assumed she was 18 or 19, partly because David's quiet demeanor and the pair's low-profile behavior created the impression of an adult relationship. Celeste, for her part, seemed to mirror David's shy and private nature, which may have contributed to the neighbor's misconception about her age. Another chilling detail he shared concerned David's Tesla, the same vehicle where Celeste's remains would later be discovered. The neighbor recalled asking David about the car after noticing significant rear-end damage. According to him, David offered no meaningful explanation and showed no interest in repairing it. The car remained parked outside the Hollywood Hills property for weeks, attracting curiosity from neighbors, before it was eventually towed on September 5, 2025. 3 days later, workers at the tow yard discovered the unmistakable smell of decomposition coming from inside, confirming the presence of Celeste's remains. The timeline surrounding the Tesla is particularly telling. The neighbor first observed the damaged vehicle on August 26, 2025. It was cited by police on August 27, received another ticket on September 3, towed on September 5. Investigators have noted that the Tesla's airtight design likely contained odors, which may explain why the neighbor and others in the vicinity did not notice anything unusual during the car's extended presence. The neighbor's account has been corroborated by multiple media outlets and has sparked widespread discussion on social media. Many users see this testimony as the most concrete evidence yet regarding the nature of David and Celeste's relationship. To some, it confirms that they were living as a couple, which raises deeply troubling questions about how adults in David's circle may have overlooked or ignored what appears to have been an inappropriate relationship with a minor. Adding another layer, David's friends and associates have also come forward. Their defense largely hinges on the claim that they believe Celeste was 19, a college-aged peer, and not underage. According to multiple reports, friends saw her accompanying David to parties and other music industry events and assumed she was of legal age, partially based on her presentation and the use of fake identification documents. These friends described David as gentle, soft-spoken, and someone who kept to himself. They noted that Celeste appeared fully integrated into a social and professional life, attending gatherings after recording sessions and seemingly part of the LA music scene. However, while friends claim ignorance of her true age, the public and media have largely been skeptical, citing evidence suggesting the relationship may have started when Celeste was as young as 11 or 12. Alleged Discord interactions from 2022 have been highlighted as proof that David's circle could not have remained completely unaware of her actual age. The combination of neighbor testimony, friend statements, and digital evidence paints a deeply concerning picture. Experts in child exploitation have pointed out that the pattern of behavior aligns with classic grooming tactics, isolating a minor from family and peers, creating dependence, and integrating them into the adult's professional and social world. Celeste's truancy, repeated absences from home, and presence at age-restricted venues all fit this disturbing behavioral pattern. Witnesses also describe a level of intimacy that goes beyond casual friendship. Matching tattoos, coordinated outfits, and shared appearances at events indicate a close personal connection between David and Celeste, further complicating any defense that the relationship was innocent or that adults around them were unaware. Law enforcement has taken these details seriously. Searches of David's Hollywood Hills residence have been conducted, and digital communications, photos, and other materials are being reviewed to construct a more complete timeline of interactions. Investigators are focused on understanding not only the period immediately before Celeste's disappearance, but also the years prior when she may have been in contact with David. The neighbor's account is particularly valuable because of its first-hand perspective. Living next door, he observed their daily interactions over an extended period, providing insight that goes beyond social media speculation or secondhand reports. His testimony directly challenges claims from David's team that contact with Celeste was minimal, highlighting a domestic closeness that may have existed for months or even years. As the investigation continues, the neighbor's revelations, combined with corroborating witness accounts and digital evidence, are likely to play a pivotal role in understanding the full scope of the relationship between David and Celeste. They serve as a stark reminder of how appearances can be deceiving and how critical it is for authorities to carefully examine first-hand observations alongside other forms of evidence when building a case involving minors and potential exploitation. They were quiet, he explained. No loud parties, no police calls, nothing that stood out as suspicious. To him, they seemed like an ordinary couple in their late teens. But here's where it gets chilling. He last saw them together in July 2025, long after Celeste had already been declared missing. That means, while her family and police were desperately searching, she may have been living openly in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Shock, misconceptions, and silence. The neighbor admitted he was stunned when he learned Celeste's true age and tragic fate. He had assumed she was 18 or 19. David kept to himself, polite but distant, which likely helped them avoid unwanted attention. Then came another detail, one that would later become a haunting clue. The neighbor remembered David's damaged Tesla, parked outside for weeks. Curious, he once asked David what had happened. David offered no real explanation, nor did he seem interested in fixing the car. That very Tesla would later become the center of horror. The car sat outside through late August, visibly wrecked, until it was finally towed on September 5, 2025. Just 3 days later, tow yard workers discovered something unbearable, the smell of decomposition coming from the vehicle. Inside were Celeste's remains. The timeline that raises questions. Here's the troubling sequence. August 26, 2025, neighbor noticed damage to the Tesla. No strange odors. August 27th, police issued a citation. September 3rd, another ticket. September 5th, vehicle was towed. September 8th, Celeste's body was discovered. Investigators believe the Tesla's sealed design may have delayed the smell from escaping, explaining why no one nearby noticed anything sooner. Why this testimony matters. The neighbor's account has been confirmed by multiple outlets and sparked massive discussion online. To many, it's the strongest evidence yet, proof that David and Celeste lived together in what looked like a relationship, even while she was legally a missing child. It directly undercuts David's team's claims that his contact with her was minimal. And because the neighbor lived right next door, his testimony carries real weight. He has no reason to exaggerate, which makes his words even harder to dismiss. Police later searched David's rental home on September 18, 2025, though no immediate arrest followed. This suggests investigators are still piecing together the full scope of what really happened during the months Celeste was missing, but possibly living with David. The role of friends and associates. Adding to the puzzle, David's friends have also spoken up. Their defense? They claim they thought Celeste was 19. According to them, she carried herself like a college-aged young woman and even used fake ID documents. Reports from outlets like TMZ and NewsNation's Banfield suggest that David's inner circle is trying to distance themselves, insisting they had no idea she was only 14. Friends described David as gentle, soft-spoken, and deeply involved in the LA music scene. Celeste often accompanied him to gatherings, and to outsiders, she appeared integrated into his professional and social life. But that explanation, that everyone simply believed she was older, is now being met with deep skepticism, especially as evidence mounts. The bigger questions. The neighbor's testimony forces uncomfortable questions. How could Celeste live openly in such a high-profile neighborhood without anyone raising alarms? Did other adults around David know her true age and choose to stay silent? And most troubling of all, why wasn't this reported sooner, given that she was officially listed as missing? This witness account is the closest thing investigators have to direct evidence of what life was really like between David and Celeste. And while David's friends scramble to claim ignorance, the neighbors' quiet observations tell a far more haunting story, one that may be impossible to ignore. So far, David hasn't been officially named a person of interest, and there's no direct evidence linking him to Celeste's death. But his friends have been vocal about what they saw, insisting that they believed David and Celeste were a romantic couple. Yes, absolutely, they said. They noticed the two spending a lot of time together, going out to parties and music events. However, there was no public display of affection. David was shy and quiet, and Celeste mirrored that behavior. But to the people who observed them, it clearly looked like a relationship. The adult illusion. The cornerstone of the friends' defense is their claim that they thought Celeste was older. They believed she was 19 and a college student at USC, based on her presentation and the documents she showed. This impression was strengthened because she attended age-restricted events like clubs and parties, sometimes using fake IDs to gain entry. Despite these claims, the timeline raises serious doubts. Evidence now suggests that David may have connected with Celeste when she was as young as 11 or 12, making the friends' alleged ignorance harder to believe. Many social media users have pointed to interactions from 2022 on Discord, when Celeste was only 11, questioning how anyone around David could remain unaware of her true age. The isolation factor. Celeste's lifestyle also contributed to the confusion. She wasn't attending school regularly and was rarely home, which made her absence less noticeable. Meanwhile, David's friends mostly met her in the past couple of years, after she had already been living in a world separate from her peers. To them, she seemed like any other young adult in the LA music scene. Public skepticism. Despite the friends' insistence, the public reaction has been skeptical. Reports from Fox LA and Times of India confirmed that while friends saw David and Celeste together and considered them a couple, they didn't know she was underage. Social media users have questioned how adults could genuinely believe she was 18 or older when the interactions allegedly began when she was still in elementary school. A timeline that raises alarms. The most troubling aspect of this case isn't a single event, it's the timeline. Investigators and online sleuths have pieced together Discord messages, photos, and social media activity, which suggests the relationship started in 2022, when Celeste was only 11 or 12 and David was 17. This creates a deeply concerning power dynamic. Evidence includes Discord interactions where Celeste listed herself as 18+, likely to conceal her real age. Photos and social media activity showing them together over multiple years. Matching SH tattoos on their fingers, linking David and Celeste and helping authorities confirm her identity. Experts in child exploitation have pointed out that this pattern fits classic grooming behavior. By 2023, when Celeste was 13 and David was 18, the relationship reportedly looked romantic, at least according to witnesses. The bigger picture. The accumulated evidence paints a disturbing story of a long-term relationship between a minor and an adult, beginning when she was still a child and escalating over time. While friends claim they were unaware, the timeline, social media records, and witness accounts make this explanation difficult to accept. This is not just about one event. It's about years of interactions that culminated in tragedy, raising serious questions about accountability, oversight, and the adults who may have been involved or turned a blind eye. A timeline that raises serious questions. The timing here is critical. If the alleged romantic involvement between David and Celeste did happen, it would have started when she was still far below the age of consent in California, making any sexual contact potentially statutory rape. Celeste's mother revealed that her daughter had begun dating someone named David shortly before disappearing in April 2024, when she was 14. The family had never met him, suggesting that any relationship may have been secret for years and only became noticeable right before her disappearance. Witnesses describe Celeste running away at 13 to spend time with David. Experts say this is a classic isolation phase of grooming, where victims are gradually removed from their normal support systems. Digital evidence tells a story. Online activity paints an equally concerning picture. Photos have emerged showing David and Celeste together, sometimes wearing matching Hello Kitty outfits, hinting at a closeness beyond friendship. Tweets from David allegedly reference Celeste during songwriting sessions, indicating she was part of his professional and personal life. Her last known Discord activity was around January 2024, 3 months before her disappearance, which could indicate a shift to less traceable forms of communication. Age progression and legal implications. The timeline shows Celeste was underage throughout the relationship. 12 years old at the start of online chats. 13 years old when dating reportedly began. 14 at disappearance. 15 at death. California law sets the age of consent at 18, making any sexual involvement potentially statutory rape under Penal Code Section 261.5. This raises questions about adults in David's circle and whether anyone recognized what was happening. Investigators see patterns that suggest grooming, taking advantage of a young fan's admiration to establish a secret, inappropriate relationship. The discovery of Celeste's body. Celeste's body was found in a state of decomposition, suggesting she had died weeks earlier, likely in late August 2025, during extreme Los Angeles heat. The timing aligns with when the Tesla she was later found in was first reported damaged and abandoned. The car had been parked in Hollywood Hills for weeks before being towed. Its airtight design likely contained odors, explaining why her remains weren't discovered sooner despite the car's prominent location. Potential legal consequences. The underage element opens the door for severe charges beyond homicide. Lewd acts with a minor. Child endangerment. Potential sex trafficking if transportation across state lines can be proven. Convictions could mean long prison terms and mandatory registration as a sex offender. Public and professional fallout. The public reaction has been intense. Social media erupted with accusations of grooming and murder, emphasizing the age gap and timeline. Professional repercussions followed. Brand partnerships canceled with Crocs and Hollister. Concert cancellations, including a September 17th Seattle show. Streaming numbers dropped, with a reported 15% decline for David's music. The case has also sparked discussions about minor safety online and in the entertainment industry, with platforms like Discord under scrutiny for allowing adult celebrities to interact with underage fans. No charges yet, but scrutiny intensifies. As of September 26, 2025, David has not been charged regarding either the relationship or Celeste's death. However, the timeline and digital evidence are being closely examined in the ongoing homicide investigation. This timeline tells a tragic story, a relationship that allegedly began when Celeste was a child and continued into her teenage years. It reflects not only a personal tragedy, but a systemic failure to protect a vulnerable young person from exploitation. A broader lesson. The case goes beyond headlines about a body in a car. It highlights allegations of grooming, statutory violations, and a failure of adults to intervene. Neighbor testimonies, friends' claims, and the disturbing timeline all point to a breakdown in responsibility, raising urgent questions about how society protects its youngest members. The story of Celeste Rivas Hernandez and David is a sobering reminder. Safeguarding vulnerable children is a responsibility we all share, especially in an age where online and celebrity interactions can hide dangerous power imbalances.